What do you feel, switching gears a little bit, what do you feel are the differences of voice actor faces versus live acting?
Well, primarily, live acting is a lot more time consuming. And for all aspects of Hollywood, but especially for the actor, it's that hurry up and wait scenario where
Hmm.
everything's just gotta be ready, gotta be ready, gotta be on call, but you're spending half the day just sitting and waiting. Not to mention, for some roles, extensive makeup, wardrobe can be a pain in the butt, but through all that, I can definitely tell you it pays a lot better. So it does make it more worth your while in the end. But for voiceover, the difficulty there lies in the fact that you are by yourself. It's solitary in a booth for the most part, unless you're lucky enough to. And I've done a few projects where I've had other actors in the booth with me, and we can play off each other, and it's magic. But for the most part, it's you alone in a booth, given a script for a character that you probably haven't had a chance to read yet, or have given maybe 10 minutes to prepare. So it's basically like 4 hours of cold reading for the most part, and that takes a whole different skill set. So it's very difficult to get into that mindset at the get go. But once you get used to it, it's a very organic process, and it's a lot of fun. But it's a whole different point of emoting and building this imaginary response. You know, you're creating your own cast and scenery and setup in your head, and having to still get an emotional, evoking experience and performance out of it. So that's the difficulty in that.
Okay. How do you prepare for the different roles? You've kind of explained what the differences are, but how do you prepare for, say, voiceover and then for live acting?
Uh, Live acting is definitely a lot more involved because it's an entire performance. It's your voice, it's your face, it's your physical state and movement and blocking, and you build a character from, depending on what school of acting you go to, from the inside out or the outside in. But you make layers. You develop an entire backstory for yourself. You develop a history that's not part of the text or what was given to you, and you make it your own. And then you have to take all of that experience and all those emotions and all those thoughts, and then internalize it and make it so that they, you know, it's come through your eyes. It comes through subtle movements, and it's just a very, very involved process. Whereas voiceover is a little more straightforward and not enough preparation. So voiceover I attribute more to improvisation than preparation, because like I said before, like you have very little time to prepare in a lot of cases, and so you kind of have to have a lot of experience and a lot of time just messing with your own voices and getting comfortable with cadence and dialects and personality types, and it's a lot more theatrical in that regard. So you just, it comes with experience of being ready for anything and having little preparation to get there.
Again, we're going to switch gears here. I know plenty of people have expressed either to me or just sitting around said, "Oh, I'd be great, doing voiceover work. I'd be great doing this. I'd be doing that." What advice would you give for people who want to get into voice acting, and or the film industry in general?
Uh, be ready to give it everything. It's one of those things where you can't take half-heartedly. You can't just make it a hobby on the side and maybe one day you'll make it big. There may be like a handful, 0.01% of people that actually get that lucky or can do it on a half-ass standpoint, but it's one of those things you have to be able to give everything for. Like, you have to take many workshops. You have to get out there and meet people. You have to constantly put yourself out there. You have to prepare for a lot of rejection. Oh my God, a lot of rejection. And so my first bit of advice would be, do not give up. Do not relent. If it's something you really want to do, you have to put your all into it. You can't let all the detractors and the rejection get you down. The average voice actor books one out of every 50 auditions. So consider that. And some people will not only get a few auditions a month. So that's a really, really rough wait. So you have to be able to put everything to that and be available. Secondly, go to workshops, meet directors, get feedback, get experiences. No matter how good you think you might sound, it's having that other person who's experienced telling you what you need to work on, what's working, what's not type scenario that you can internalize constructively and just get that much better from it. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to workshops with like Chris Zimmerman, who does the Metal Gear series, or Jenny McSwain, who did all the BioWare titles, it's helped me tremendously to find not only my better voices, but to find variations in cadence based on the style of the game. It can be very cartoony or animated. It can be very intense in the kind of Hollywood film style, and it's getting to have that secondary experience and even recording yourself and playing it back and listening to it and kind of taking apart what you like about your own performance is a good thing too. But workshops, there's plenty in LA and New York, and eventually building a demo. about a minute and a half demo reel of your best work, your best voices up first, because some people will only listen to the first 30 seconds, and so you want to make sure that all your best stuff is up first.
So it's kind of like writing a script. You want to catch their attention in the first 5 pages.
Exactly. And a lot of times that just means be your normal voice. You know, that's the one you're most comfortable with, and for the most part, what you'll probably be cast the most doing. So it's just taking the time to put all that together. It's not easy, and I hate to say it to all you guys out there in Wyoming who want to become a voice actor, but you're going to have to relocate. Like, it's not something you could do via the web so much. Maybe not yet, at least, but you have to be where the work is. So if you really want to make it a lifestyle and a living, you have to kind of go where the work is.
Tell me a little bit about Land Party Massacre.
That is a film that me and my writing partner, Jack Conway, wrote about 2.5 years ago. The premise being that a friend of ours who's a director wanted to do a horror film that was based around video games. And we're like, well, you know, I just happen to be a hardcore gamer, as is Jack. And so we took a crack at it, and we wrote a horror film that takes place at a video game tournament in the middle of nowhere in Texas, because it's a horror movie, but it's a horror comedy. And so it's very, very gamer-centric humor, you know, parodies and jokes about gamer culture and horror movies in general. And yeah, we were in pretty heavy pre-production for a while there, but then when the economy bottomed out, we lost some of our investors. So we're in the process of building that back up now. And it's a pretty silly bit. And it's one of those things where horror fans will enjoy it for the horror and for the irreverent humor. And gamers will definitely enjoy it for the intrinsic and, in my opinion, knowledgeable gamer jokes, because I only write what I think I would like, which I think is the key to any good writer.
Right.
You don't want to cater too much to another audience. You want to write something that you yourself would watch. Otherwise, you're not that invested in the material. And I would watch this movie.